Hi, I'm Justin Norman. I grew up in Georgia for most of my childhood. I moved here into the Springfield, Missouri area. I think it was '94. It just seemed like, my parents would always fight. They divorced when I was 11. Eventually, at some point, I think it was more right around the age of 11-ish, that's when I started drinking and smoking cigarettes. I'd sneak them from my parents. I had a friend that was older, and he lived with his grandfather, and so there was not any accountability there, and he would get into the liquor cabinet and just pour a whole bunch of liquors together, and then he'd sneak out and come over to my house, and then I would sneak out, and we'd go run around the neighborhood and do whatever we wanted, basically. I mean, if we decided we wanted to steal a bike, we'd steal a bike, or if we wanted to, take hood ornaments off of cars, running through people's backyards, whatever we wanted to do, we just kind of felt like it was a free-for-all. I didn't have much of a church upbringing. We were maybe Easter churchgoers, maybe Christmas. But I do remember coming to see my grandparents in the summer, and they would bring me to this church. So at about 13, I decided that I was mature enough. I made a decision to get baptized and accept the Lord and Savior into my heart. Directly right behind me is where I was baptized for the first time. It seems like right directly after that was when life really started to get chaotic. I was sneaking out more. I was smoking a lot more pot, cigarettes, stealing, getting in fights, all kinds of stuff. It was like lawlessness, and I didn't care so much for authority. I didn't want to have anybody policing me, so to speak, because my mom wasn't ever around. She was at work. And so me left to fend for myself. I'd have to feed myself. Ended up going to court, and the court decided that I needed rehabilitation. So they sent me to juvenile detention. So I stayed there for almost a full month before being placed at a place called Green Gables. That was a 35-day program. And some of the stuff I went through while I was actually in that detention center is just unfathomable. It's gross. It was not fun at all. So 27 days into the program, my social worker comes to me and he tells me that they're going to have a transfer hearing because they have found evidence that I was involved with some burglaries in Springfield that they didn't previously know about, and so therefore they needed to find out, if this was going to be enough or what the next transition point was going to be, whatever. So they decided that the 35-day program was not going to be enough rehabilitation, so they sent me back to juvenile detention. I was there for about a week and went to a place called Wilson Creek in Springfield. And I really felt like God had his hand in all of that, because those things that I learned while I was in there at the age of 16, they helped me tremendously later on in life, where I feel like if I had not have went through all that, it would have been more of a struggle, so to speak. My life just kind of started to do more of a downward spiral at that point. My mom's boyfriend had a guy that worked for him on the construction crew that he was really into meth, and that first house that we lived in, I think that was the first time that I'd actually tried meth. We smoked it out of his bowl in our house, and I don't know really if I had I obviously enjoyed it enough to keep on using, but that with the alcohol and the pot and sometimes acid and sometimes cocaine, I think for me, really, it was just it all kind of seemed the same, but I just enjoyed doing it because probably I wasn't supposed to. It wasn't what I came into this world to do. I know that. I was just I was lost. I was very lost. But as the times went by and, I was extremely unhappy and I didn't care about anything other than myself and instant gratification, I was just probably a ticking time bomb. And I did not realize how I could get out of it other than just to stop doing what I enjoyed doing, and that wasn't an option for me. And if I didn't do something about it, there was no way that I'd live past 21. I just knew that at that point, meth was not the answer, and if anything could keep me away from that, then that's what I was gonna do, because I didn't need to be back into that kind of stuff. So, my boss, Bud Sherman, he was a really spectacular type of person. Whenever we would go on field checks or whatever, I would ride with him, and he would ask me if I knew Jesus, and I'd give him the quick answer of, yeah, I'll answer this, and that way it's good enough, don't ask me more. So I'm like, yeah, I got baptized when I was 13, so on and so on. He's like, no, do you know Jesus? Do you have a relationship with him? And that's the first time I'd ever had anybody ask me specifically, do you know him? How well do you know him? They were like interrogating me about my relationship with him, and I never viewed my relationship with God as a relationship. I didn't have a dad around, so I didn't feel like I had any type of guidance in that type of relationship. And it's just, as I look back, I've noticed that was kind of what started a lot of my spiritual journey. Shortly after that, I got in a really bad car wreck going to work. Right around this corner, I was heading north, and there was a semi right beside me. As we came around this corner, I was on cruise control, set at 75, and when I came in on this crest right here, I went into the ditch just a little bit and lost track of the car. I started to fishtail. I overcorrected, and it slung-shot me across the street. The nose went into this culvert, and it flipped me pretty much right on impact. And as I went through this fence here, which you'll see the remnants where they had to actually fix it. But I was probably about, I don't know, maybe about 10, 15, 20 feet right in there. And this is where the car went through. We had to get it fixed, like I said, but I landed with the car head top up, and I remember hitting the culvert and then just waking up. When I came to, I had my seatbelt on, and I felt some pressure here, and it ended up bruising, but there was actually somebody that had stopped and was checking on me to see, they're like, hey, you all right? You okay? Blah, blah, blah. And I was pretty incoherent. I mean, I knew what was going on. It was just kind of all crazy for me in my head. So they ended up taking me at hospital, checking me out. I was fine. But I flipped my car. I think they said that it rolled 3 times. I shouldn't have made that. Why am I still here is what I remember asking too, is why am I still here? And I read a book around 2005, 2006 called Purpose Driven Life. And for the life of me today, I can't tell you much about like the specifics of the book, but I remember walking away from the book and understanding that I do have a purpose. there's still a reason why I've went through the things that I've went through, especially with the wrecks. Those are the most notable, but to still be in existence after all of those, it makes me question, what am I missing here? What am I supposed to be attaining? Because there's clearly got to be some type of greater purpose. But I married in 2007, and I thought that was my counter companion, my soulmate, and we were gonna rule the world, so to speak. But I didn't realize at the time that I'd been deceived. She had totally lied to me about a bunch of stuff, and I didn't know until, shortly after we got married. But my ex-wife and I, when we split up, it was not pretty. And it ended up where she went to the hospital, the kids were taken into custody, and I was taken into custody and sent to county. Red door is kind of significant. It was my ex busted it open with a rock, and just a really, really bad night. And I didn't realize that for the next 9 months after that, I wouldn't be able to see my kids. And it took my lawyers going to the court to get the judge to sign off to let me see my kids in common ground. My ex-wife told the cops that I choked her and drug her down the stairs and then threw her off of this porch onto the ground. She said I tried to kill her. And so, but this was it. This was the pinnacle right here. When my ex and I split up, I was arrested. My kids were taken. She went to the hospital. They ended up living in Harmony House. And my life was jerked out from under me just like that. Carless, homeless. I mean, really the only thing that I had was like my DJ equipment. That was pretty much it. Oh, and clothes. I didn't get to see my kids for 9 months after that. I relied heavily on my faith that I knew I was going to get through it. It wasn't going to be pretty. It wasn't going to be fun. I knew all that, but I knew at some point I'm going to get through this. It's going to end up better than what it was, and I can make sure that I do the things that I need to do. And so I prayed a lot. I got back into church. I wanted to make sure that I could not only be a good example for my kids, but I wanted to at least try to give them the type of father that they didn't have, or I didn't have, growing up. And so it really opened my eyes to the type of father that I didn't have in my life growing up, but it helped me realize what type of father I have in God and in Jesus. And once I realized that, it helped me in so many facets of my life. Once I learned that He was going to be there for me, no matter what, even where I was at, I could always talk to Him. I could lean on Him. I could cry to Him. I could cuss to Him. I could scream. I could do anything and everything and know that I still have His love afterwards, because that's what it is.